What you're about to see is a clip that was filmed at Seneca College Textile Waste Summit. We're talking about rogue operators in the textile waste industry, and in the clip is myself and Claudia Mersales, who's the head of waste management for Markham and who spearheaded the textile pilot I often disparage as a monopsony. So watch the clip.
Not all of them are saints. I will attest to that. I won't even say that I'm a saint. But what I will say is that we were doing a lot more that's being collected in Markham now, even with a monopsony that's been created and a textile ban to help them, where it's still a tiny fraction than what the diversified private sector, as jerky as some of them are, were doing. They were doing a more effective job, and we're actually diverting way more textiles from landfill than what's happening now.
So if I could just say, jerky is an interesting word. We would probably use a stronger one.
Okay, so we both agree that there's rogue operators, clearly. I'm trying to be a bit diplomatic about it. They act like their charities are the only ones with integrity and that every other operator in the industry is garbage. So, and this was her proof of that.
I'll tell you a story of why I don't believe your metrics. Is that we found a collector who was going to one of the bins, and so we asked him, you know, who are you collecting for? Because we have all kinds of different operators out there. Pink ones, purple ones, red ones, green ones. Didn't know who any of them were. And so we said, so who are you collecting for? He said, well, everyone. And we said, well, what do you mean everyone? He says, are you doing, you know, this charity? Are you doing that charity? He said, no, I collect from them all. So we started wondering, well, how can that possibly be? He says, is one guy collecting? Are they all interconnected? So I just...
And that to you is proof that one guy collects all the bins in Markham and everybody else is lying?
So, Daniela,
So you'll notice I'm just about to rip into her, the moderator, Daniela. So, and just like there, I was censored. So what I wanted to say was that operator not being forthright with them is not indicative of him being a rogue operator. It's that at that time, everybody knew that Markham was helping to impose a monopoly, and everybody knew that if you weren't selling to Value Village or Savers, that you were about to lose your job. So nobody was helping her with any information at all because screw you, right? Everybody was very bitter towards those bylaw officers going around Markham at that time because we all knew what the agenda was. So him not wanting to answer her questions was a thing of self-preservation from my perspective. And that's how I viewed this. Now I posted this clip and I received a long text rant by a driver. He asked me not to divulge what municipality he's in because he's scared of government retribution. You would not believe some of the Kafkian crap I have seen. It's like coordinated efforts to disparage certain collectors and to push that narrative that everybody's a rogue. So, but when he saw the clip, he saw something different. He saw a different perspective and it infuriated him. So like I said, he sent me this huge long text rant and I'm going to read that to you. They're using that as intel as to which companies they should use and a part of their decision-making process. AKA, certain companies can't be trusted because we found one guy who works for more than one company. That's what they're saying behind closed doors, which was my point. So one guy says this, and to you, that's proof that nothing we've been told by any other operator in the industry can be trusted because one guy wasn't answering your questions. And, right? But then he said, but how about this perspective? Companies are allowed to hire contractors and consultants with previous experience, and consultants and contractors are allowed to take on more than one job at a time. I missed the part where Ontario has lended itself into a dictatorship. So what are you saying, that Beck drivers can't drive for Uber, or delivery drivers for the local Swiss Chalet can't also work for Skip the Dishes? Why was it untoward that this operator may have worked for more than one organization in such a niche industry that requires a niche skill set? Then he suggested that I post that clip of her saying that again. Break it down as to how it reflects on poor decision making when they make prejudiced comments like that. So basically, from her thought process, a man can't assume a larger workload to provide for his family, especially if in the expensive GTA market where wages haven't increased much and rent and expenses have gone through the roof. Now a whole industry has to be punished, let alone a poorly driver contractor who is now told he can no longer keep his job because the city is dictating that. How does that even work? Who are they to say how many hours and jobs somebody can take on to support their family? So now this person is what? Relegated to having to look for another job? You know what her comments are a prime example of? Someone who takes on more than one job to support his family, and then that gets turned into to say that because of this, the industry numbers and actualities can't be trusted. You know, this is a small group of people who call themselves decision makers and frame these situations to support the narrative that fits their storyline. However, perhaps they should step outside of their agenda and perceive things for what they actually are. And then he texted me this image. Have a great day, everybody.